Well, here we go, back again with another beautiful Sunday bunch. Yes, it's time to talk Sunderland. And first of all, he's on the screen, he's on my top left. Apparently, it was his birthday last week and he was 40 years of age. I cannot believe you are the best looking, the youngest looking 40-year-old Sunderland fan in the entire world. Dino, did you have a good birthday?
Yeah, it was nice. Went down the seafront, a couple of friends, a couple of drinks. Well, it was nice. It was just a quiet one. I would have rather had a massive party, but with restrictions, can't do that. So I just had a couple of friends down the beach with us.
Are you really 40?
No, I'm nearly there. I've got 11 more years to go until I'm 40, mate.
You're only 29?
Aye.
Oh, aye. Nice one. That makes me feel loads better. I thought, Jesus Christ, he's only 10 years younger than me. It looks a good 30 years younger than me. So you're happy, Jane? Are you happy?
Well, happy as you can be, really.
Very good. We're in the playoffs, you've got to be happy. And again, to me right, there's Mr. Sexy, Mr. Super, and he does a great impression of me. Are you going to show the public the impression of me right now? Sexy Super Bowels.
Well, here we go, back again. I'm here to host the Sunday Bunch in place of Wee Philly, and I'm going to rant about how Gene Johnson plays Josh Scowen in the centre midfield in a 4-2-2-2-2-2-2-2 formation. There you go.
You sound like Boris Johnson, Michael. Is that an impression of Boris
so did
Johnson?
You apparently yesterday on your own stream, but you can't even remember it.
Are you good, Michael? Are you good?
I'm all right. Can't complain, mate. How are you doing?
I'm champion. I'm happy, and I'm going to celebrate today. Yesterday's victory. A little bit of wine, I think. Wine o'clock. Yes, a bit of wine. It is.
Wine in a bottle. Oh, right.
Never. Well, I've got a glass. I'm going to pour it in the glass, Michael.
Sophisticated.
Exactly. And our guest again, he was here on Thursday, and he talks a lot of sense. Now, is it Jack from South Shields or North Shields, or is your name Jack Shields?
No, my name's Jack Shields. I'm not from South or North Shields. My surname is Shields, so I am Jack
Whereabouts
Shields.
Whereabouts are you from, Jack?
I'm from Hortley Spring.
Hortley Spring. Oh, I've got some mates at Hortley Spring. We go to the golf course, me and Dino, at Hortley Spring, over at Copt Hill. Nice one.
I know what you mean. I know it very well.
So, Jack, you have a good night last night after the win?
Yeah, I thought we played well. Good win. It's just nice to have a positive feeling about Sunderland, isn't it? Last few weeks, everyone's just been in the dumps, haven't they? Everyone's been proper miserable, and it was just nice to have it smiling, have a watch a happy match, and everyone was smiling, weren't they?
Brilliant. Now, today, I want to bring you something new. We have this new One Football app, a sponsor in the channel. Can you please take a look at Wee Philly?
SAFC Fan TV have teamed up with our new sponsors, One Football. This great app will tell you everything you need to know on Sunderland and all other teams. Up to the minute latest scores, breaking news, team lineups and transfer news as we head into a busy summer of sport. If you haven't already got the app, you can download it for free via the link in the description below. It's the only football app you'll ever need to keep you bang up to date with all the latest news. We couldn't do what we're doing without the support of One Football, so a massive thank you to them for supporting the channel.
Nice one, sir. Have a look at that. It's cracking. Apparently, Dino says it's absolutely amazing. What's your thoughts on that, Dino?
It's actually not a bad app, actually. I was actually surprised. There's a lot of stats on there, which I'm sure we'll come to a bit later on in the show. But yeah, it's actually a really good app. Probably better than the Sky Sports app, in my opinion.
Oh, really? That's a nice one. Well advertised there. Anyway, on the
There's
chat...
the headline, Dino. One app, One Football is better than Sky Sports.
Brilliant. On the chat tonight, we have a Casey, Cameron Jude. Good evening. Robert Foster, Joseph, Kieran, John Forbes. A bloke called Wee Philly, apparently. I think he's taking the piss. Richie Dicchio, James, Anthony, LF6, Anthony Lee, Alan Gardner, Thomas, Mickey Stewart, all on the chat, plus many more. Thanks for joining the live stream tonight. I hope you enjoy yourself. So, Michael, you were absolutely over the moon yesterday of that victory, weren't you? What was your thoughts on the game, Michael?
Back to winning ways is the main thing. First half, I felt Sunderland were comfortably the better side. The only chance I can remember Plymouth having was the one, I think it might be Niall Ennis, who somehow managed to fluff his lines from some 6 yards out towards the left-hand side of the 6 yard box. Anyway, that aside, I can't remember Plymouth really doing anything of note. They got down the wings a couple of times, but I thought Sunderland dealt with them quite comfortably. Sunderland's pressing, and for those who watched the live stream, obviously with me, Jack and Phil, we were talking about how the intensity was noticeable, even in, say, early as the 5th minute. We noticed that we were starting to press down the channels well. We were starting to harry Plymouth well. We were pressing them and forcing them into mistakes well. And we got our just rewards. The first goal I thought was very good. Lyndon Gooch, again, who I've been very critical of in the past, and he's got 2 assists in like 3 games, I think. Could you technically count that? I don't know if he technically assisted the 3rd goal since he had the shot that was saved, but I don't know. I don't think it would count as an assist. Regardless, though, half time deserved to be in front. Should have been in front by more, if we're being truthful. Only negative, didn't keep a clean sheet again, which is something we do need to rectify going into the playoffs. But nevertheless, we'll deal with that in the next few games, hopefully. But once Plymouth went down to 10 men, it definitely did help. But I did think that Sunderland was still the better side. The only spell I really thought Plymouth offered any danger was in the 5-10 minutes before they actually equalised. That aside, I felt Sunderland were more or less in control of the game. Good to see Chris Maguire coming on. I know, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. Chris Maguire comes onto the pitch. He comes on for, half an hour, scores the penalty, which gets us back in front. And it's just good to see that we've cemented a playoff place. I'm still a bit annoyed that we haven't pushed all the way for the top 2. But nevertheless, we've now got a week off till the last game of the regular season. And then after that, you've got something like at least 9, maybe 10 days before the first leg of the playoffs. So it gives the players a good bit of rest. And we did that yesterday without Wyke McGeady, which you could argue is quite promising as well.
Yes, very much so, definitely. On the chat, we have Nigel Dunn. He says, one football has been keeping me informed for years. Good choice. Thank you, Nigel. My good friend Nigel Dunn. Hello, Johnny Torrance. How are you doing? Alan McElroy is on. And also Thomas Garrigan. We're going on a 5 unbeaten run because we're going to the playoffs via the We're going to the championship via the playoffs. Now, yesterday, Jack, apparently we played the 4-2-2-2. Was it actually 4-2-2-2? Or was it 4-2-3-1? Or was it a mixture of everything? And what was your thoughts on Gooch? What kind of role did he play yesterday?
I thought it was more 4-2-3-1. I might have been wrong, but I thought that was more along the lines of what we were doing. I thought Gooch had a really good game. I thought he was quick, he was on the ball, he was busy, he was creating things, and he was a nuisance for them. They looked like they couldn't quite pick him up. He kept dropping into the central midfield area and then knocking it wide and going in little runs, and he was a nuisance for them. I thought he had a really good game, and I thought overall that was a lot more like you'd expect from Sunderland at this level. We were pressing them hard, we were, first in, winning every second ball. We were the team that was on the front foot, and I agree with what Michael said. I think other than the goal and their slice chance in the first half, we dominated, and it was only through hitting the woodwork 3 times, which is typical Sunderland. It could have been a much more comfortable win. And the only annoying thing is that it took a penalty in the 84th minute or 85th minute, whatever it was, for us to get the second. Because if we hadn't won that game, it would have been ridiculous on the amount of chances that we had. It was unbelievable. But it was good to get back to winning ways, and hopefully we can build up a bit of momentum going into playoffs now, because it was going to be horrible going into playoffs on like a winless run. I always think a team with momentum and confidence usually stands a good chance in the playoffs. So if we can win next Sunday, and then we'll go on to the back of it of 2 wins, that'll be good for confidence.
What were your thoughts on Ross Stewart? I was surprised how fast he looked, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought he had a really good game. I thought that the way that he sprung forward and took the first goal was a really good finish. And I thought his hold-up play was a lot better. I think at times, for being a big lad, I've been a bit critical of him. He seems to get knocked off the ball quite easily, I thought. But I thought yesterday he linked up well with the midfield, and he was a threat, and he could have had another. He could have scored one, and he probably could have had maybe another one as well. So I was really impressed with him yesterday.
Definitely, I thought he had a really good game yesterday, and I was quite surprised with Gooch being sort of like just in front of the 2 midfielders. I thought he played really well. He held out the midfield a lot of movement off the ball, and I thought Ross and Gooch seemed to link up really well. So Michael, yesterday, to do with Ross Stewart, were you surprised how fast he looked when he had a bit of open space in front of him? And would you think that kind of the position Ross Stewart was in would have Charlie Wyke scored that similar position?
Possible. Well, Charlie Wyckoff this season, there's a chance he would have done, but I do get what you mean. I think Charlie Wyke's goals are more or less either tap-ins on the line or headers inside the box. Ross Stewart did. I mean, there's a case. I don't know what do you guys think? There's a case from what Plymouth said. Our first goal maybe looked a bit offside, but regardless, it was given. Play to the whistle. It was a good finish. Ross Stewart. this is something I've been quite impressed with because Ross Stewart actually took his chance. One of the criticism I've always had of Sunderland players is whenever they have a chance, they tend not to take it. And thankfully, Ross Stewart actually did take it. And Ross Stewart has only really not been in the team because whatever system we tend to play, more often than not, if we play with a 4-2-2, it tends to be O'Brien up front with Wyke, or we play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 formation or a 3-4-3, which usually only facilitates one out-and-out forward. And that means that unless you're playing Ross on the wings or just behind the striker, then you can't find a way to fit him into the team. And you could argue that's not his best game. The two games, he's got 2 goals now. And it's good to see that, he actually stood up to the plate quite well. Ross Stewart was getting himself about the pitch. He was winning he was connecting a lot of the forward play. He was just being a nuisance for Plymouth. I will stress, I think we were aided a little bit by the fact that Plymouth have got the second worst defence now in League One behind Swindon. I think Plymouth can see something like 79 goals. And obviously, when we come up against sides in the playoffs, we're going to come against teams who've got much more about them defensively. But nevertheless, you can only play what's put in front of you. Ross Stewart did well. I will quickly mention as well, man, for me personally, I thought Jack Diamond was excellent. In the first half, I felt he was constantly targeting their left back, and more times than not, he was winning the individual battle with him. He was sprinting down the left, he was bringing down whatever wing it was, loads of times. He wouldn't give them a moment's rest. And literally, the drive and pace and energy he had caused Plymouth problems all afternoon until he was took off. And the good thing is as well, though, so you had Stewart, who I thought played well. I thought Diamond played really well. Gooch played well. Jones was probably the least effective of the forwards, but I still felt he did enough to be noticed in a good way. And it's good to see that they had a bit of interchangeability about them. They could interact well with each other. The good thing is as well, the more options, and it gives Wyke and McGeady will have earned a bit of a rest. The squad itself will get a bit of a rest over the next week. And the more options we have, especially going forward, going into the playoffs, the better. And like Jack said, win next week, hopefully, get some momentum, get some confidence, get options going, get some competition going. Hopefully, touch wood, it bodes well.
Well, on the live chat tonight, we have Colin, who says he hopes me head's okay. Colin, me head's okay. Not too bad. I bumped my head on the wall yesterday. And it was really annoying.
I thought it was because of all the Carlings who were drinking yesterday on the stream, apparently.
I only had 4 Carlings, only 4%. Never makes any difference to me whatsoever. Jeff Hallcroft, I hope you come and fix my car with that spanner of yours. Hope you can come and fix that car with my spanner of yours. He says, everybody looks fast. Again, rather than Charlie Wyke. What are you saying, Michael?
I heard you had 8 Carlings on your stream. Like, someone came over to our stream yesterday and said, Terry's had like down 8 Carlings and is now sounding like Boris Johnson.
I can only have 4. My head only takes 4. But I banged my head on the wall. It made it even worse. So
how many did you have when we won the EFL trophy?
I don't know, about 6, I think. 6. Possibly 6. 6 and I'm anybody's, you know what I mean, Michael? I'm anybody's. I'll come and give you a cuddle after 6 cans, Michael. Well, not through lockdown, obviously, when COVID's gone. Anyway, Dino, you're happy today. I'm pleased to see you got a big smile on your face. Look at the smile on Dino's face. Look at that smile. Absolutely over the moon. What was your thoughts on Gooch? What was your thoughts on the formation? What formation do you think we played?
Well, I can't really give you a full analysis of the game or what really happened because obviously I was out celebrating my birthday. So I didn't watch the game. I've only seen little clips. So I can't give a really big analysis like Jack and Michael did. But the only things I can say what I seen, when I seen the starting lineup, I was a bit miffed. I seen no McGeady. I seen no Charlie Wyke. I was a bit confused. I didn't realise they were injured. But overall, that team should be winning. That team's good enough to win Plymouth. I seen Rod Stewart's goal. I mean, to be fair, he looked quick. He looked confident on the ball, running with the ball. When Charlie Wyke runs with the ball, he looks like a bit of a donkey on the ball. He doesn't look like he's very confident. That's why you call him One Touch Charlie Wyke, because that's all he's done. That's all he's got. Whereas Ross Stewart looks like he's got a bit pace. He's taller than Charlie Wyke. I feel like we've got a good little player in Rod Stewart. You know, I do. I feel like people were slating him, saying he's not good enough. I mean, how can you say the bloke's not good enough after 5 games, even though he hasn't even played a full 90 minutes? I think that was his first 88 minutes, and apparently he looked really good. So to say he's not good enough, I mean, we are at League One, and he looks like a good little player. The thing is, you are saying Diamond played well. I seen on Twitter, I know Twitter's full of people with mad opinions. I seen on Twitter that Jack Diamond was terrible. I seen comments saying Jack Diamond was awful. So, I mean, I don't understand what some people watch. At times, if you three are saying he played really well and people are saying he played crap, I mean, I don't understand.
I will emphasise it was me who said he was playing well. I don't think the other two said that. So maybe I'll just watch a different game to everybody else.
I thought it was a very Jack Diamond-esque performance. I thought he carried the ball well and he was very energetic, but ultimately his final ball at times really, and I know he's raw and he's young, I get that, but his final end product for me, he needs massive work on that because he's quick and he gets into good positions, and then I always think that his final pass or his final decision, he tends to get it wrong when it comes to getting the ball into the box or shooting or passing. I think that's what he needs to work at. So in that aspect, like I say, very energetic, lots of pace, and he did get on the ball quite a bit, but his final end product was poor. I think that's what he needs to work on.
But Jack say this is why he's a League One player, because he's fine. Like, you can have all the tools in your box, you can be a good dribbler, but if you can't cross a ball, I mean, this is why certain players are in League One. It's consistency. This is what separates the Premier League from League One and Championship. You've got to have consistency. You've got to try and pick the ball out, like pick someone out every cross. And that's why we have the players we do, because they're not capable of doing that. Out of 10 crosses, maybe one hits the target. Yeah, Terry?
Do you not think that Gooch was similar in his early days and that he's slightly getting better now? Do you think Diamond could improve with age because he's only young? And obviously, that's really what's lacking. He sort of wants to run with the ball too much and kind of make the wrong decision. Well,
Jack Diamond's what, 2021? I mean, people say, oh, you can't get any better after 21, but you do have late bloomers. I mean, Jesse Lingard, like, he was on loan all the time. Harry Kane was on loan until he was about 24, and then all of a sudden
Jamie Vardy as well didn't burst onto the main scene until he was in his late 20s.
There is examples of players where they don't show what they're made of in the early years. It's when they get more experience and they grow up a little bit. I mean, Harry Kane, I'm sure he was on loan at Leicester and stuff like that when he was 23, 24, and now he's one of the best goal scorers in the Premier League. I mean, things take time. He might be one of them people who grow as he gets older and he becomes better when he's about 26, 27. You just don't know. But I did see Chris Maguire got on the pitch, which is good to see. Good to see Chris Maguire get some minutes under his belt, but people are going on that he played absolutely amazing. He changed the game. I mean, he scored a penalty. I mean, let's be fair. If Grant Ledbetter or Ian McGeady was on the pitch the same time as Maguire's not even taken that. So, I mean, he scored a penalty, well done. But I mean, he's not been at it all season. It's good to see him on, but I'm still not convinced by him. It's a penalty. I mean, Ledbetter would have scored it. McGeady would have scored it.
Dino, didn't he go through patches when under Jack Ross he sort of went in and out of form? He went on the subs bench and he came on as a kind of a super sub, but he changed the game at times. And even against Parkinson, he was hit and miss with his form. So that's the kind of player I think he is. I think he'll come good at certain parts of the season. We just need him to come good at this part of the season at the end. Because, I mean, that free kick he took, there's not many players with that kind of technique can do that kind of flick over the wall. I mean, if that was a couple of inches further to the right-hand side, that could have been a goal.
What was this in the game? Did he take a free kick? Like, did he?
We got a free kick just outside the penalty box, and I was screaming, Lee Johnson, bring on Maguire, and he did it. He brought on Maguire, he came on, first touch, flicked the ball over the wall, keeper made a good save, hit the crossbar, went over the top. But I think if it was like 6 inches to the right, it would have been a goal because it was a brilliant sort of technical sort of free kick. I thought the technique was absolutely fantastic.
Let's be fair though, Terry. If McGeady was on the pitch, Maguire's not taking that, and maybe if McGeady steps up, it's probably is a goal. Do you know what I mean?
I think McGeady and Maguire are really good friends, and I think between the two of them, I think McGeady's slightly better further away, where Maguire has a little bit more sort of, as in flicking the ball and techniques, he's great with a free kick. Michael?
Maguire, though, I think yesterday I didn't think he was great. I think when he came on, he obviously helped stretch Plymouth a bit more, but that's obviously because they were down to 10 men, and it wasn't just exclusive to Maguire. Everyone was doing that. But the difference, I think, that Maguire is one of the players who can come on and impact a game like that from the subs bench. And this is one of the reasons that one of the things Johnson does deserve criticism on, like I've said many times, I do agree with him that I don't think Wyke should be in from the start because I don't think he'll provide enough consistency from the start. Remember, Johnson wants us to play a high press with a lot of energy and intensity, and Maguire's probably not capable of sustaining that for 90 minutes. What he is capable of, though, is providing the difference coming off from the bench. And again, like I've alluded to it, I think it might have been on the stream a couple of days ago, or yesterday, whatever it was, the games against Portsmouth in the playoffs, he scored the all-important decisive goal that got us to the final, which granted, yes, we mucked up in the final, but regardless, he scored a big moment in the game against a team that we struggled to beat all season up till that point. So Maguire, in the playoffs, I would much rather have Maguire in the squad than not at all. Even if he doesn't start, have him on the bench ready to come on with a significant amount of time to come on if the game's not going our way. And that's an option I think most teams in League One would want to have.
On the chat, we have Mick Griffiths. Welcome to the chat, Mick Griffiths. Also, we have on the chat down here somewhere Rufus. We also, like I said before, we've got on, and there was a question somewhere, I think it was, SAFC Gaza. In my mind, not many can cross the ball as good as Maguire can. We are missing that so much recently. That, for me, Maguire is a starter. Now, do you think anywhere, Jack, anywhere, that Chris Maguire will start any game from now all the way through the playoffs?
No, I don't think he starts. I think you've got probably 3 or 4 options that you would put ahead of him, and I think he is an important player in terms of his experience in those big game scenarios, as Michael touched on in the playoffs against Portsmouth a couple of seasons ago. And I think Chris Maguire is someone that would potentially take a penalty in a shootout or a free kick in a crucial time like you mentioned. I certainly don't think he's had enough football this season to be starting now. I mean, I think you need players that are going to be ready and 100% match fit, and I don't think Maguire would be because he's barely played, hasn't he? Let's be honest. So I think even if Lee Johnson wanted to start him, I don't think he would have the capability within his fitness to play to start. So I think an option off the bench, yes. And I think sometimes with Sunderland fans, I think the lesser player plays, the better they get sometimes. So when we were going through that run, fans were looking, what can we do to change it? And I think fans were pinning the hopes on Chris Maguire being the one that's, we'll play him and suddenly things will improve. And I'm not quite sure that was the case with why the form was so bad because Chris Maguire was missing. I certainly do think he will have a part to play, but I wouldn't be starting him like you say. I think you've got the likes of Gooch or Jordan Jones or even Jack Diamond. You could make a case for him ahead of Chris Maguire, but I wouldn't start him.
Welcome to the chat, Anthony Lee. He does say that the goal Stewart scored yesterday wasn't really a typical kind of Charlie White goal who wouldn't really sort of put that shot away. Do you know?
Talking about Chris Maguire, right? I mean, Gaza says he's one of the best crossers of the ball. And I'm sorry, I totally disagree. I mean, obviously, with this new app we've got, I've just went on his season statistics. Right?
Do you know what's the app called?
One Football. Is it One Football? One Football. Right?
Should we just promote it while we're on it?
I'm on his stats right now, right? And he says he's one of the best crossers of the ball. He's got a 23% cross accuracy. Sorry, right? That's terrible.
So who's got the best cross accuracy in our squad then? Just out of interest.
While Dino searches for that, Dino, you search for that. I'll give you my opinion on the game yesterday. I was disappointed with the formation. I was kind of surprised with the lineup. Now, 4-2-2-2, which was down on a few apps saying that's what the formation was. I didn't quite see that yesterday. I kind of was impressed with the way Gooch played just in front of Scowen and Power. Scowen and Power? Which one was the holding midfielder? Were they both doing the same sort of duties? And then Gooch had the free run in front to help out Stewart. I thought the first half was good. I thought Plymouth looked really good on the attack. I thought they had some really athletic players, and I can see why they've stayed in League One this season. Done a fantastic job. Is it Rob Lowe? I forget his name, that actor who now manages Plymouth. Absolutely fantastic manager. Doing a good job. Ryan Lowe, that's the name, not Rob Lowe. Ryan Lowe, he's managing Plymouth this season, and he's done a good job keeping them in League One. And their fans expect better next season now. Will they do better? I'm not sure. So well done, Plymouth staying in League One. But I thought they were really athletic, looked good going forward. I thought the skills of Gooch, Denver U at times, and obviously in defensive moments, and Jones, I thought them players sort of got a few yellow cards off the Plymouth players, which they were always going to be in a chance of one of the players getting sent off. Now, just after the half-time point, I'll catch you in a second, Dean. After the half-time point, Plymouth, for me, dominated the next 10, 15 minutes. So whatever happened at half-time, their manager Mr. Rob Lowe, Sexy Super Rob Lowe, got the team up in the second half. And I thought it was Diamond's fault for me that the cross came over. I thought he was a bit lethargic, a bit sloppy, didn't really put the boot in. And he didn't seem to sort of, that moment in time for me, it was just like, it was really poor defending from Diamond. The ball came across. Obviously, there was opportunity to clear it in the box. They scored a good goal. And then moments later, their player got sent off. Now, before we go to Dino, I want to ask Jack. Jack, was it a sending off offence? Was it another yellow card, that?
Yeah, I don't think they can have too many complaints, to be honest. I think it wasn't just the fact that it was a late tackle, it was where we were. I think Ross Stewart's, if he doesn't foul him there, I think we're getting a shot at goal. So I think he dove in, and yeah, I don't think he could have any complaints. My annoyance at the time was we got a penalty later, but I was frustrated that it wasn't, I think it was right on the edge of the box. I was just annoyed it wasn't a tiny little bit further forward and we could have got a penalty for it, but we got a penalty later on. But yeah, I thought yesterday, just going back to what you touched on there, I thought you mentioned Plymouth looking energetic and athletic, and I think one of the things we've struggled with this season, a real lack of mobility in the team, lack of pace and lack of athleticism. I thought yesterday, we did show that a little bit more. I thought it looked like there was a bit more pace in the team, was a little bit more athleticism, and we had players willing to carry the ball out and actually run at defences, and I think that was good, and that was why we created so much. I think, because a lot of our creativity seems to come from balls from wide areas like Aidan McGeady and then getting it in the box with someone like a Charlie White to attack it. We haven't really had a lot from the middle, carrying the ball and creating things that way, but I thought we did do that yesterday, and I thought that was partly why we created so many chances. I think I might be wrong, but I think we had something like 11 shots on target yesterday, which I haven't known us have that many for a long time. So it was good on that account.
I think on Lee Johnson's interview, he mentioned we had over 20 odd shots in total.
Yeah,
and yesterday,
we had 24 shots on goal.
24 shots. I mean, that's brilliant. I couldn't believe the difference. I don't know how many of
them came after the red card, but we had 24 shots on goal over the course of the game.
I think it was 11 on target, from that 24. I might be wrong about the number 11.
That must be the most we've had on target for a while, has to have
been.
Even though we had that many on target, and we looked loads better from the Tuesday, you couldn't believe the difference between Tuesday and yesterday. It was chalk and cheese. We did look athletic. We did look to be chasing every single lost cause. Now, for me, if Plymouth didn't get a man sent off, I think it would have been a different game altogether, which is worrying going into the playoffs. Dean?
Yeah, and on the play what we were talking about Maguire as well, with being the best crosser and all that stuff, I've looked on a few players, but someone who's got a better cross accuracy and people give him a lot of stuff for not doing anything is Aidan O'Brien. And Aidan O'Brien's got a 33% cross accuracy, whereas McGeady's only got 20. Bear in mind, he's got 15, 16 assists, and Maguire's only got 5. But on the One Football app, I think Philly's got something to say about it.
SAFC Fan TV have teamed up with our new sponsors, One Football. This great app will tell you everything you need to know on Sunderland and all other teams. Up to the minute latest scores, breaking news, team lineups and transfer news as we head into a busy summer of sport. If you haven't already got the app, you can download it for free via the link in the description below. It's the only football app you'll ever need to keep you bang up to date with all the latest news. We couldn't do what we're doing without the support of One Football, so a massive thank you to them for supporting the channel.
And there we go, super sexy wee Philly. Now, welcome to the chat, Leighton, Arthur Busby, and also AJJ. We do have 136 people watching the channel. Please give the video a like. We do like to get over 100 likes every single time we do these Sunday bunches and Thursday bunches. So please like the channel, get it over 100 likes. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Right, Dean? Now, does it tell you on the One Football app how many crosses Aidan O'Brien actually had? Was it 2 crosses? How does that work out?
I didn't think about that. It actually says 6. So
6 crosses.
I didn't realise that.
Now, I'm sure I could cross the ball 33% of the time in 6 crosses. Do you reckon, Dean?
Well,
again, you've seen me
2 successful crosses out of 6.
2 out of 6, yeah.
The shooting accuracy, definitely not.
I can pass the ball really well, but I need to practice my shooting accuracy. Definitely a bit dodgy. Now, I want to go on to the penalty yesterday. Now, I'm a bit worried about the League One referees. Now, I might be completely wrong, but I thought the penalty was about a yard outside the penalty box. I thought the free kick that Chris Maguire had when Stewart got brought down was closer. Now, the referee went, it's a corner, or whatever he did. He pointed not to a free kick, pointed to a free kick. The linesman had his 5 minutes of fame, flagged up and said, referee, I'm over here. I'm actually here. He went over to the linesman. Linesman said that was a penalty, even though the referee was closer to the ball. Now, Michael, was it a penalty or not? I said it wasn't a penalty. What do you think?
In my opinion, I agree with Terry, actually. I didn't think it was a penalty. It's a very tight call because it happened more or less either just before or on the line. Now, for me, the initial contact happened right before Gooch crossed the line in towards the box. Now, for me, that's based on the camera angle I saw, because the camera angle's at the other end of the ground. So it's a bit... so obviously, it's impossible to say from that camera angle to pinpoint exactly where the initial foul started occurring. For me, it was a free kick, and that was what the referee initially gave. It was the linesman who overturned the decision to give a penalty. So I was surprised. Obviously, I wasn't complaining. I don't think any of us were complaining, but I was very surprised when that penalty was given, because when I looked at it, when I was looking at the highlights, I just and even the replays that were shown back before the penalty was scored, I felt that was a free kick. So I thought Plymouth had pretty good reason to be aggrieved by that. But I would also argue, you could argue we had a case for a penalty within about 10 minutes earlier, when a cross came down from the left and Ross Stewart looked like he was wrestled to the ground and absolutely
definitely.
Was he looking for it? Maybe, who knows? But for me, that was more of a penalty than the one we actually got. So if you're going off the two wrongs don't make a right, if you're going off the two wrongs, it evens itself out debate, I should say, then we probably did get the due that we deserved based on that. You could argue it, whether that's the case or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't even think it was 10 minutes, Mike. I think it was a few minutes before, maybe even a couple of minutes.
It was not long before.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't long, but yeah, Ross Stewart was just about to get his head on the ball from the left, and I think he was body checked by their defender who just threw him to the ground. I was shouting for penalty there, but I think Gooch was quite clever with the one that we actually got, because what he did was he kind of initiated the contact after it was there, if that makes sense. So the lad was niggling at him a little bit on his way into the box. And then what Gooch did is he kind of stuck his leg out, kind of similar to the way that Jamie Vardy does it. If you've ever seen when Jamie Vardy does it, he leaves his leg across and lets the defender initiate the contact. I think Gooch did that on the line.
I'd be hearing Lyndon Gooch being compared to Jamie Vardy, like.
Yeah, so in that, he was quite clever, and I think as well the fact that we shouted for one not long before, the Stewart one, which I agree with, it was more of a penalty, and that I think that played in the linesman's head. They've had two pretty decent shouts, and we're going to give them that one the benefit of the doubt. It's probably not right that goes on, but I do think sometimes if you've had a shout before that you didn't get, sometimes you're more likely to get the next one, whether or not it's right or not. But I tend to find that does happen sometimes.
So the referee...
I mean, to be fair, even with Lyndon Gooch, essentially he was being a shithouse, if you're ever going off that. Yeah. And that's something, and as much as that's raw, as much as I know a lot of people don't like that, for me, Sunderland don't do that enough. We're too nice. We have too much of a soft underbelly sometimes. And every other, I've lost count the amount of times teams do that to us since we've dropped into this league. So if teams are going to do it to us, go on then, let's bite back. Let's do it back. Why not? Everyone does it to us, so why shouldn't we do the same thing?
Gooch has that in his locker. He went down the right-hand side. He played brilliant on the right-hand side, got the ball, running towards the penalty box. He was brought down there. Now, the referee didn't give the first penalty. For me, that was a penalty. Second penalty wasn't a penalty. Referee didn't give it. So he wasn't going to give the two penalties. I don't understand what's going through the referee's mind when the linesman is further away. How does the linesman overrule the referee when the referee blatantly seen it and made the clear decision? And then the referee goes over the linesman. Surely the referee would just say, look, I've seen it, I was closer than you. How does he change his mind in that situation, Jack? I don't know how that works.
I'm not sure. I think I was surprised the referee was... The annoying thing for me was the referee wasn't even consulting. He wasn't even thinking for a second. He was just going to the corner straight away, and it was like, well, hold on here. You know what I mean? And then he just kind of, totally left it and went with what the linesman said. So I'm not sure either. I think the linesman was kind of... was watching it more, because I think the referee was kind of a little bit, more concerned with what was going on, a bit further back. But yeah, I think I'm not really sure how it happened. But the good thing is we got a penalty out of it at the end of the day.
I reckon the linesman had Sunderland on the coupon. That's what my thoughts are. He definitely had Sunderland on the coupon yesterday, and he was waiting for Sunderland to win.
Impartial then.
And I think the referee in the Peterborough match had the draw because Lincoln was so unlucky. How was that a penalty? How did Peterborough get a penalty yesterday? That was ridiculous. Another ridiculous
that was
refereeing decision.
Astonishing that. That, you know, I mean, I think how Lincoln fans must feel about that. But to be fair, like, well, first of all, I'm going to do a mad mistake impression again. Well, here we go. Well done, Peterborough United, on getting automatic promotion back to the Championship. And hopefully we'll be joining them in a month's time through the playoffs. There you go.
Dino, I want to chat with you a minute. Dino. Sorry, Jack, what were you going to say?
You know, Michael sounds a bit like the Big Brother bloke. What's he called? Marcus Bentley. Day 42 in the Big Brother house.
Fine. Match day 45 at Plymouth's home park.
Dino, have you seen the goal back from Ross Stewart? Have you seen the penalty decision?
Well, I'll give you my honest opinion on the penalty decision.
Yeah.
I didn't get a good angle. I didn't watch it, but it was definitely a penalty. It was definitely. I didn't see it, but it was definitely a penalty.
Well, if Dino says so, it was his birthday last week. We'll all agree with Dino.
It was a penalty.
Dino, do me a favour.
What?
Go and put your disco lights on. It's your birthday last week. How was celebrate with disco lights? Go on. Get off your ass. Go on. Put them on.
Come on, Dino. It was your birthday weekend and Sunderland won a game. Come on. What more need...
Michael, what was your thoughts on Conor McLaughlin yesterday having 45 minutes? I listened to the Lee Johnson interview and he said that was the plan, to give him only 45 minutes to get him back to the playoffs. What was your thoughts on his performance?
I thought he did all right. I thought, to be fair, actually, and obviously I've been Conor McLaughlin, one of Conor McLaughlin's biggest critics since he signed for us, but I thought he did fine. I felt that he stood his ground quite well defensively. I actually thought he attempted to get forward. I still don't think Conor McLaughlin at fullback's good enough to fully to supply our attack to the level that we would want. But it's good that at least we're managing and there's a plan involved for Conor McLaughlin because, as everybody knows by now, defensively we're kind of stretched in terms of injuries. So it's good to see that there was a plan there to give him some minutes and make sure that he doesn't, we don't overexert him and risk another injury, which means we've got one less option going into the playoffs. I would imagine he would start against Northampton next week. So it's good to see. The more, like I said earlier, the more options that we have, the better. And Flanagan could be back fit, so could be back soon enough.
Nice one. So, Jack, what was your thoughts on McLaughlin's performance yesterday for 45 minutes?
Yeah, I thought he looked solid. He looked steady. They didn't really. I mean, he was helped by the fact that Plymouth didn't really offer a great deal in attack. I felt, you know what I mean. I mean, they had 2 or 3 quick plays, but they didn't really offer a lot. So I think that made it a little bit more comfortable for him. But I'm not overall a big fan of playing midfielders in defensive positions. So Max Power at right back and Luke O'Nien at centre back. I certainly don't think that's the way to go. So anything's better than that. And if we can get, like you say, you mentioned Flanagan, if we can get him back and we've got one back at right back, then I think that offers us a little bit of surety at the back. I mean, we've been pretty good defensively, to be honest, until that bad run where we seem to be conceding goals left, right and centre. 3 against Accrington, you know, 2 against Hull, 2 against Charlton, against Wigan. So, you know, we've conceded goals for fun recently. And I think that's partly down to players playing out of position and us not having a steady, settled back four. So get that back as soon as we can, hopefully.
Dino?
Sorry to interrupt. I know Dino's wanting in there, but just a quick question. If we had a back 4, would you be against putting McLaughlin at centre back with Bailey Wright and putting O'Nien at right back if we didn't get any other options in?
Dean, you go first.
I'm only thinking because I would imagine O'Nien would offer us a bit more going forward from right back than McLaughlin would. And I think McLaughlin is competent enough at centre half when I've watched him, albeit he's played in the back 3 though. Just a question I'll throw out there.
Going off what we've seen, McLaughlin only seems to work in a back 3. I don't know if I could trust him in a back 2. Whereas,
fair enough.
Yeah, I like O'Nien at right back because he does offer you going forward. He does offer you a good crossing and getting forward and getting back in energy. But I trust Luke O'Nien more in a back 2 than I would McLaughlin.
Jack?
On that one, no, I would. I don't like playing, you know, Luke O'Nien at centre back as much. I think if he has to be in the defence, I'd rather play him at right back. So yeah, I'd rather do O'Nien at right back and McLaughlin at centre back if we had to. But I think ideally, if we can get Flanagan back and we can have 2 actual centre backs there, then I think that's going to be massive help. But whatever we do, it feels like we're just kind of chopping and changing at a late stage, and I think that's partly down to the fact we haven't had a settled back line. Partly down to that's partly the reason we've struggled so much recently. So whatever it is we pick, I think, you know, get it settled and make sure we stick to it and don't try and change it.
Dean?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, right? Because I've seen something on Twitter again, right? I know I refer to Twitter a lot, but Twitter is full of mad opinions and people agree and people... but I want to throw this out to you, right? Do you think? I know every team gets injuries, yeah. I totally understand. Some get little injuries where it's not really big players, it's just the odd player here and there. But with our injuries, we've had a really bad injury list this season. Most of it's been with back four. Do you believe if we had our full strength back four, the season would have been a lot different? Because yeah, you can replace the odd midfielder and your centre midfielder, but when you've got most of your back four out, and bear in mind that's 3 centre backs. I mean, Bailey out was out, Willis, Flanagan, and you're playing centre mids at centre backs and centre mids at right back. Do you believe that this season would have been totally different if we actually had the less injuries we've had in the positions we've had?
I'm worried about who would miss out in midfield, because if we do have our centre backs and our right backs in place, we have 09, Scowen, brought in Winchester. He loves Scowen, he loves Winchester. We got power. So he only plays a 4-2-2-2 or plays a 4-2-3-1. Where does 09 fit in? Does he fit into the Gooch role, and where does Gooch go? We got too many midfielders, if that's the case. Now, for me, I'd rather go 4-3-3 and play the likes of Powers, the holding midfielder, than have 09 and Scowen or Winchester as the players that can go forward. Even possibly Gooch. Jackie, what did it?
I was just going to say, I think, I know our fans like Luke 09, but I wouldn't be too sad if he didn't. If when everyone's fit, he's used more as a squad player. If we keep next season, I know our fans love him out. They love his commitment. They love how much effort he puts in. I get that. But I think it's a bit of a worry that we're 3 years in now. We're still not really sure Luke 09's best position. Is he a centre back? Is he a right back? Is he a centre mid? Is he an attacking midfielder? I think they keep asking people, and it's like, well, nobody knows, but the one to play. And I think when you say you have to play a player, but you're not sure where you're going to play him and where he fits in, but he definitely has to start. I'm not sure about that. So,
but Jack, that's not his fault though, because it's the managers playing him in them positions. It's not Luke 09's fault that he's being played right back, centre back. Luke 09 just wants to play football. He wants to play. I believe Luke 09 would rather play in centre mid, because that's where he played for Wickham. That's where he's played for his other teams. But with injuries, he's been that utility player, and it's not his fault, because I believe he wants to play centre mid. But when your manager's saying you're going right back, I mean, players don't have a choice where they play. It's the manager who picks.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is when we're full strength, hypothetically speaking, when there's no injuries, I get what you're saying, Dean, that, he's had to cover in and he's been forced to play that. I get that. But when we're at full strength, is Luke 09 good enough to dislodge some of the other midfielders? I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't see, if everyone's at full strength, I don't really see where he plays. Does he play in the centre mid? Do you play him in attacking midfielder off the striker? I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. We're at full strength. Yeah.
I kind of like Luke 09 sort of, if it's a 4-3-3, attacking midfielder, or even if that player behind the striker, because I think he has a good passing range. He does pass the ball really well. I think he shows a lot of sort of incentive of getting forward. I think he can create a lot as well for me. Michael, you want to be in before we go to Michael? Marion Carlo, £3 has just donated on the super chat. Oi, guys, Luke 09, very underrated, talented player from Massachusetts.
That's you told, Jack. That's you told.
Michael, you wanted to be in?
The Luke 09 debate kind of reminds me a bit of George Honeyman, where the argument was that because he's such a versatile player, because George Honeyman used to play on the right, he used to play in a defensive mid, he used to play more of a number 10, an attacking role, that tended to work against him because you couldn't nail one set position because he's been played in so many of them. Now, obviously, we've had Luke 09 a couple of spells. We've seen him in a kind of 10 role. We've seen him as part of a midfield 3. We've seen him at right back. We've obviously seen him at centre back recently. Where do I think his best position is? I think it's still probably in midfield. I know it, and I do bear in mind, I know it is only one game, but I hark back to when we beat Doncaster 4-1 a couple of months ago. And I think it was Scowen, Power, and 09. And I thought that midfield combination worked really well. And that I wanted to see more of that. It's just unfortunate that injuries haven't been able to facilitate that. So, I don't know. For me, it is midfield. But at the moment, I don't see... I mean, 09 will... To be honest, 09 will probably be stuck at centre-back for the rest of the season. And that's including the playoffs anyway. Just because he's been able to he's been able to be established there. There's me dog. Hang on.
Under Jack Ross, did Luke 09 not play centre mid quite a bit then? People say, he's not a centre mid. Did I get that wrong? When he first started...
Maybe to begin with, I think. To begin with, I think. But I think halfway through the season, he was established as our main choice right back. Well, I say established.
I remember.
Preferred first choice right back amongst Jack Ross in the squad.
I remember Luke 09 starting again. It was a Sheffield Wednesday in the cup match, and he got a yellow card early on, and he was like a late Catamore. He went some reckless challenges early on, but that was in his early days. He's matured since then. Now on the live chat, I want to apologise if I don't read out many on the live chat. I'm very old. I've only got one good eye. This one's a good eye. That one's terrible. I can't see. So I can't see what's going on. But Hogan says the rule states if a foul starts outside the penalty box but continues inside the box, it's a penalty. I don't even think Gooch actually got into the penalty box at that point. So fair enough. Also on the live chat, we do have the casual observer. 09 surely should be playing centre mid. Regardless of anyone else, his energy and goal threat is far greater than any other midfielders. Dino, as we go towards the playoffs, we've made the playoffs now. What would your central midfield combination be? Would it be a 2 or a 3? And who would it be?
3. Obviously, I would like to play Luke 09 in there, but obviously that's not physically possible with injuries and stuff, so you'll have to stay in defence, unfortunately. But the 3 for me, maybe Ledbetter, because I feel like he's got the experience, he's got the passing, and he can hold. On one side, Scowen, because Scowen is he's a big scapegoat, but I in my opinion, I can see what he offers. I know people see his passing's not the best, but we'll get onto that in a couple of minutes' time.
Oh, here we go.
Dino, what's those stats on the One Football app for Scowen?
Is that right? Is that what it was going to happen, mate? Right, 2 seconds.
Nice little plug, yeah.
I'll get them up for you, right, Mr.
Josh
Terry,
what would yours be while Dino's looking?
I'll tell you what. Oh, here we go.
I've got it already. Right, so Josh Scowen, right? He's played 42 games this season, right? His pass accuracy is 82%.
Get away! No, that can't be right.
I've seen him get.
Max Power
is very good at doing the ugly stuff and winning the ball back, but he's also very culpable at giving the ball away in easy positions, and I've noticed that quite a bit about him. I'm not saying I dislike Scowen, but I'm amazed by. Sorry, Dino, go on.
Max Power has got an 80% pass accuracy, right? So on passes, he's made a total of 1,516 passes, right? 82% of them have been on target, so I couldn't tell you exact number of how many of them passes have been on target. So 82% pass accuracy. That's to me, that's one of the best pass accuracies in the midfield, I think.
Dino, I think the One Football app takes into account the invisible money passes too.
Well, if that's the case, you'd be 100% then, wouldn't you? You'd be 100%.
Why, you must have passed to somebody else. My centre midfield, I probably would have Powers to hold the midfielder because he's the captain, and I've seen him do that once before, and I really enjoyed his performance there. And I would like to have Luke going 9, and probably out of the 2, Winchester and Scowen.
And Josh Scowen.
End of the day, yes, Josh Scowen. End of the day, I do give him grief, but I only do it because I want them to grow as footballers. I want Lee Johnson to grow as a manager. We want footballers to succeed and be brilliant at Sunderland. And Scowen, yes, did have a good game yesterday. What do you know?
Right, and on that, right, so we all put Ledbetter as the best passer of the team, don't we? We all do, right? So Ledbetter's pass accuracy, right, he's made, I'll tell you his pass accuracy, 2 seconds. He's made 1,904 passes, which is about 400 more than Scowen. His pass accuracy is 83%, right? So there's only 1% difference between Scowen and Ledbetter, but we praise Ledbetter so much. But I mean, the One Football app is that, what's that, Terry?
Ledbetter. I praise Ledbetter for his defensive duties. The time he puts his body on the line in defence and saves the day. That's what I praise, because the defence is what we've been lacking with all those central defenders out injured. Ledbetter's put his body on the line like Luke 09 does and has saved the day on countless occasions. That's why I praise Ledbetter for. But
Ledbetter is a good player. Everyone praises him for his passing, but Scowen is nearly just as good, and Scowen gets slated. But again, on the One Football,
so Dino, would you have Ledbetter and Scowen in your midfield then?
Yeah, well, I said I would have Ledbetter, Scowen, and then on the other side, it depends. Would you rather go Winchester or Power? But I'm not sure. But I think we.
Where's Luke 09?
You can't play centre mid because with defence, defensive leaks. I've said this is on current players in the squad. But anyway, lads, obviously, We Philly has something to say on the One Football app.
Again, I'm sick of hearing his voice.
I know, he's
SAFC
on quite a
Fan
bit,
TV
isn't
have
he?
teamed up with our new sponsors, One Football. This great app will tell you everything you need to know on Sunderland and all other teams. Up to the minute latest scores, breaking news, team lineups and transfer news as we head into a busy summer of sport. If you haven't already got the app, you can download it for free via the link in the description below. It's the only football app you'll ever need to keep you bang up to date with all the latest news. We couldn't do what we're doing without the support of One Football, so a massive thank you to them for supporting the channel.
Jack, we know you're intelligent, lad. We know you're clever. We know you love Sunderland. You're passionate. You talk a good talk. What's your favourite midfield? Who would you play if you were the manager in our midfield for the playoffs?
I would go Grant Ledbetter sitting holding as like a quarterback role, dictating play. And then I would go probably Scowen alongside him. And then, you're looking at either Power or Winchester, aren't you? I'd probably go Max Power. That would be my three. So Ledbetter, Scowen and Power. That would be my three.
Michael Bowers, Super Sexy Bowers, what's your midfield three?
Midfield three. I agree with Jack. Ledbetter in the sort of holding role in front of the back line. For me, I would go Power and Winchester. I think Scowen, like I said, Scowen does a lot of the industrious stuff, and I do appreciate that about his game. I just think sometimes I don't know what it is. I just think sometimes I'd like to see a bit more from him going forward, but you could argue that's the case about a lot of our midfielders. I think for me, Power's best position is probably when he goes further forward in midfield. And I think Winchester's quite a neat and tidy player. I quite like the look of him. I'd like to see more from Winchester. But out of those lots, if you had like Ledbetter, Power, Scowen, and Winchester, because let's be honest, Luke O'Nine's going to be in defence for the rest of for the playoffs and for the rest of the season anyway. So if you alternated out with them four, I wouldn't complain too much. It would probably be realistically, it might be Ledbetter, Scowen, and Winchester because there's a chance that Power could be having to be an option for right back. Depends on how fit McLaughlin is, though, or Flanagan.
Right, so we all agree we're going for three midfield. So Lee Johnson's come in this season in 11th place, dragged us to a promotion almost. We end up in the playoffs. He's done a good job. For me, he deserves another season because he's cemented the playoff position. Now, what does Lee Johnson see that we don't see? He plays two midfield, we play three midfield. Dino, is Lee Johnson stubborn or not?
No, I was going to say Lee's stubborn there. Lee Johnson spends the time with him out on the training pitch. At the end of the day, all we can do is give an opinion. You like the 4-3-3, someone else might like the 4-4-2. At the end of the day, it's not down to us. We can say, I prefer this player over that player, but we're not the professionals. It's just a fan's opinion. Lee Johnson gets paid to do it. And we say the 4-2-2-2 doesn't work, but it won yesterday. Yeah, it's against a poor Plymouth Argyle team. But at the end of the day, we can only give opinions on what we like. It's like you like red, I like blue. It just depends on what you prefer.
So you're an Everton fan, I'm a Sunderland fan.
No, you like the blue top, I like the red top.
Oh, yeah, for God's sake. Anyway, what I was going to say was, right, you don't think Lee Johnson is constantly playing the 4-2-2-2? I don't even think yesterday was 4-2-2-2. I thought yesterday was more of a sort of combination of 4-3-3 and 4-2-5-1. What's up, Michael?
Well, here's a conspiracy theory for you. This is for Terry particularly. Do you not think that we're playing 4-2-2-2 or 4-2-3-1 to throw opponents off so that we're going to surprise them in the playoffs when we play 4-3-3 and then blow them away?
I'm starting to come around now thinking, are we actually playing any formation? Are we playing 4-2-2-2, changing to 4-2-3-1, or playing 4-3-3, or the players just doing whatever they want?
Well, just out of interest then, just as a question, I want to ask you this then. With the playoffs coming up in mind, what system and what players would you be tempted to play the likes of McEady and the likes of White against Northampton at this point? Because our playoffs are already secure, or would you rather try and save them for the playoffs and play players that aren't our first teamers as of recently, but on paper should still be good enough to beat Northampton, who I will bear in mind.
Well, I reckon personally we should not sort of plenty of players who are sort of injury prone, who are injured at the moment, like McGeady, like Wyke. We should be careful with those. I think we should play players who need to get fitter for the playoffs. Jack, do you think Lee Johnson's had a really good season so far?
I wouldn't say really good. I think he's done okay. I'd certainly wouldn't be getting rid of him over the summer, because I think one thing that we've got in place now is a proper structure behind him. We've got the owner in KLD. We've got the recruitment model with the director of football and the scouts and everything. And I think with a full season behind him, and you could argue this, but I think with a full season behind him, we might have even snuck second place, and we might be going him automatically had we had Lee Johnson there for the full season. Some people might disagree with that, and that's fine. But I certainly think he's done enough to get a second season. Now, I'm very interested to see what the recruitment model is going to be over the summer. I know we've had a January window under Lee Johnson, and we've got a couple of players in, but I always think the January window is a bit of a rushed one, isn't it? It's a bit hit and hope, panic buy, and I think the summer one now is a cracking chance for us to really model a squad in Lee Johnson's image and get in players that he wants, the right type of player, the right character, and see where we are next season. I'd certainly give him that. And then I wouldn't say give him the full season, but certainly give him at least 15 games into next season. Hopefully we're on track for automatic promotion.
Michael, what I want to ask you, and also with your finger, you can tell us what you want to say, but I think we can attract any players now. If we get promoted this season into the championship, we can attract any players because the money's there to pay the wages. What's your thoughts, Michael?
On that point, I definitely agree. I think, well, first of all, if we stay in League One, we should be expecting to attract top 2 level League One players at least, and I think we should be able to attract that. But like Jack said, we've got the structure in place now. We've got a structure in place off the pitch, whereas beforehand it felt like all right, we'll just sign those players and hope that they come good. I'd like to think there's going to be a bit more research going into the signings that we're going to be doing, and I think Lee Johnson and all the statistics and all the Christian Speakman and Stuart Harvey, they'll probably be looking at signings based on evidence and data and statistics, and trying to integrate, and will fit a certain way that we want to play. The main point I was going to make was that, well, like Jack said, hopefully we're on track for automatic promotion. Hopefully then we get promoted to the Championship, and then we're on track for automatic promotion in the Premier League. I'm going to be a romanticist. That's what we'll want. That's what we'll want. But in all seriousness, I think that what would be good about this structure is that if, say, we get the players in and we've got an established way of playing and an identity that we want to go down, and then it doesn't work with Lee Johnson, the good thing is if we say we were to get rid of Lee Johnson at any point next season, we've already got a set model, a set way that we would want to play. And if you bring a head coach in that suits that way we want to play, then it should be less of a transition phase from one head coach to the next, which you argue is what we've done when we've changed managers all the time. It could be going from Phil Parkinson to Lee Johnson. It's 2 completely different styles of play, and there's a transition period that comes with that. So if we had Lee Johnson go in and someone who has a similar philosophy to what Lee Johnson does, and we've got the players that fit well into that style of play, then we should have less of a transition phase.
Now, I did say that Lee Johnson, if he gets us to the playoffs, he deserves his chance next season. On the chat, I want to say a happy birthday to Joshua Billingsley. It's his birthday on Wednesday. He's turning 18. Jesus, I wish I was 18. I know I look 18, but I wish I was 18. Happy birthday, Josh. Hello, Philip Stout on the live chat. And also, we have on lots of people. Thanks for watching this live stream today. Please like the video. Please like the live stream. Get us over 100 likes, and also subscribe to the channel. There was one geezer who had subscribed to the channel, and I do appreciate it. Ben, thanks for subscribing to the channel. Much appreciated. Now, Dean, we've got 1 game to go. We've cemented the playoffs position. Do we go try and get 3rd place, or do we bring some of the youngsters into it, like Hawks, like Oliver Younger, and give them some game time just in case they're needed in the playoffs?
I mean, what's the lowest we can finish now? 4th or 5th?
I would 5th, because Blackpool have a game in hand, 2 points behind, and also Lincoln have got a game in hand.
I mean,
Michael, you're the statistician. What do you think?
Statistician, I love that phrase. Right, we're 3rd on, I think it's 76 points. Lincoln are on 76 points as well, but they have a game in hand, but we have a better goal difference. And Blackpool, I believe, are on 74. I think they're on 74 points with a game in hand. So obviously, say Lincoln and Blackpool both win midweek. Lincoln, I think, would be 3rd. Blackpool would be 4th. And then we would be 5th. Obviously depends on. I mean, if you look at the fixtures everybody's got, I'll go through this quick. Try to go through this quickly. Blackpool have got Doncaster at home on Tuesday night. Doncaster have picked up a bit recently, so you never know, they could do something there. Then they've got already relegated Bristol Rovers. So again, on paper, you probably fancy Blackpool to win that game. Lincoln have got to go to Charlton in midweek, whose playoff hopes are literally have got to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. So don't be shocked to see Lincoln drop points there. But then they've got Wimbledon at home next Sunday, which again, Wimbledon are already safe now at this point. So again, though, the lowest week we're 4 points above Portsmouth, who are 6th. So we can't finish any lower than 5th one way or the other. We might even finish higher though.
Well, for me, if we're in the playoffs already, so it doesn't matter who we're going to play, because at the end of the day, if we play one team, we're going to be playing them in the next round anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For the last game, experiment. So drop a couple of players. So Lee Birch, put Remy Matthews in goal, or Anthony Patterson if you want. Up to you, it doesn't really matter. Maybe try Josh Hawkes, Dan Neil, get Dan Neil in there, see what he's about on the last game of the season. Oliver Younger, chuck him in the centre back, see how he does against a professional team, see what he's like. Just experiment, go with a back three, just experiment for that game, go 4-3-3, go 3-5-3 or whatever you want to do, just experiment, try and get some confidence in players and give some youth a go. It's the last game, we're in the playoffs, so just
do you not think, Dean, though, we've won the last game, we've got to continue winning? Why break? Why change a winning side? Why break a winning run? And by changing things around against Northampton, we could interrupt the playoff preparation.
No, see,
you want to win against Northampton to gain momentum as well for the playoffs as well.
I didn't know, because tomorrow's a nothing game. Well, not tomorrow, like we're playing tomorrow.
Northampton game. Tomorrow, like
tomorrow's game is a nothing game. If you get beat, it doesn't matter. When you're playing the season, you need to win every game to get in the top 2. Now we know where we're going to finish. We know we're in the playoffs. So if we get beat, no one should feel down because we're in the playoffs. Tomorrow's game, not tomorrow's game, Northampton game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Tomorrow's game is a nothing game. Next Sunday is a different question.
It does not matter if we win, lose or draw. So it can't knock your confidence because it does not matter. It's like a friendly game. It doesn't matter.
Of course it matters. We've got to beat Northampton. We've got to keep the confidence going.
It's not like if we beat them, we'll go second. If we don't beat them, we'll draw out the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It's a nothing game. It's a nothing game.
Jack, what's your thoughts on Northampton?
Jack, go on.
Come on, Jack.
Do you think how important do you think next Sunday is?
I get what Dino's saying. I do understand what he's saying. It's a perfect opportunity for you to kind of experiment a little bit. But I think try and win the game. I certainly wouldn't be making widespread changes. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 tweaks here and there. But I would try and play the strongest squad that you possibly can and try and win the game and make sure we go into it on the back of 2 wins.
So if that's the case, you play McGeady, gets injured. You play White, gets injured. Lee Burge gets injured. I mean, these are potential things what could happen. And then you got 3 best players, or you could have rested them for the playoffs and saved them for the playoffs. So
I know, but Jane, we've got a 10-day gap after the Northampton game. We've got like a 10-day gap before the playoffs start or something like that. Well, I think that's plenty of time for them to rest. Like, to be fair,
exactly. McGeady didn't play yesterday. White didn't play yesterday. We won 3-1. We won 3-1, Dean. What more do you want?
No, but I'm saying, if you play them against Northampton, so you play McGeady, White, Lee Burge, and at least 2 of them get injured. If McGeady gets injured and White gets injured, or Lee Burge, or whoever, right, you could have rested them for that game, because at the end of the day, anyone can get an injury during a game. A muscle injury, serious, anyone can get injuries. You can't just run on the pitch and get an injury, for God's sake.
You run on the pitch, you trip over a slug, and you get injured. It's possible, Dean. It's possible. Anyway, on the live chat, Dave O'Mac says he agrees with Dean. Jack, what was your team next week against Northampton? Would you stick? What changes would you make?
I wouldn't make loads of changes. Maybe 1 or 2. I think will McLaughlin play again at right back? But now that he's had the 45 minutes, will you start him? Or I don't know. As I say, I would try and keep it as other than McGeady and White, as much as close as we can to yesterday's. Because you need. I mean, it's okay experimenting, but you also need to have in mind the 2 playoff games and the final potentially. You need to have it in mind that what the actual best team is. You know what I mean? So it's okay experimenting, but you don't want to experiment so much that you confuse things as well. So I'd try and keep it as close. Maybe add McGeady and Wyken if they are fit. But I wouldn't be making too many changes.
Michael, your thoughts?
In defence as well, to counter this, I would say that if you made a few changes to the side, you could say to the lads, there's your chance. You've got a professional game, but yes, it's against a team again who are already relegated. But even if we make, I agree with Jack. I think that McGeady and Wyke, because obviously they've been the heart of what we've been doing going forward. It's usually McGeady cross Wyke header, McGeady cross Wyke header. That tends to how we've scored quite a lot of our goals. For those two, if they're not 100% match fit, I wouldn't play them. I would rest them for the Northampton game. But other than that, I would like to see a stronger start in 11 as possible. I wouldn't be against the similar team that played against Plymouth to play against Northampton, because you want to try and, again, it's about momentum at this point. Now, say, for example, when we played Fleetwood in the Tim Pot Trophy in the group stage games, when us and Fleetwood were both already through, if you remember, in the group stage games, that game I wasn't against completely changing. Phil Parkinson, he did change it up. But, make a load of changes there, because whether we finished first or second in that group didn't really matter, because we were already through. But also, you had enough games, you had a lot of games after that to try and regain momentum if you lost that game. Whereas this time, you've got one game left, and after this game, it's the big set of games, it's the playoffs. I would try and keep a strong 11 as possible, a side that still should be good enough to beat Northampton, but try to just sort of balance out a little bit. And those who come into the side that haven't been starting as regularly, the opportunity, seize your chance and force your way into the manager's thinking of the playoffs. Like I said earlier, the more options we've got and the more fit and round to go options we've got for the playoffs, the better.
Right, so to end the show, to end tonight's show, and it's been a good show, thank you everybody in the live chat. Much appreciated. Cheers for liking the video. Please get us over 100. Subscribe to the channel. Michael, who would you want, if we could make it to the final in the playoffs, who would you want to play?
Oh God, who would I want to play? Right, well, obviously it depends on where we get in these semis. If I had to pick a team who I'd want to play, oh God, part of me's tempted to say Blackpool, because I didn't think Blackpool looked all that when we played them, but Blackpool look quite good in playoff finals, so I'm not going to say them. Probably Lincoln, if I had to guess, Lincoln or Portsmouth, because to be honest, I mean, it depends who you think's going to finish sixth. For me, it's going to be Portsmouth who end up sneaking in sixth.
Jack?
Out of everybody, I would like to say if Oxford could sneak into the playoffs, I don't know if they still mathematically can. If Oxford could sneak in and then we'll play them, but realistically, I disagree with Michael. I wouldn't want to play Lincoln at the minute. I think they've built up a head of steam. So out of the teams that's probably going to be there, you're looking at Portsmouth, Blackpool, or Lincoln. Who would I rather play out of them three? Probably Portsmouth.
I agree with Jack. I want to play Portsmouth, get revenge in that Checker Trade Trophy final. Dino?
Let's ask CONRAD. CONRAD will want to play Portsmouth in the playoff final, wouldn't he?
Lincoln. I think we beat them. Have we not beat them twice this season already?
Was it a draw?
We took 4 points off them and beat them on penalties in the EFL Trophy.
Exactly. We've beat them. We can't beat them. We can't beat Blackpool. We've proved that in the last two games. We can't beat Blackpool. And Portsmouth, I don't like playing Portsmouth. It's always an iffy game. So I would say Lincoln.
What I would say for the Blackpool thing is that 2 seasons ago, when we went into the playoffs, we hadn't beaten Portsmouth at all into that season, and we beat them over 2 legs in the playoffs.
Definitely, and that was the time when Luke O'Neill was pushed over the railings, and that horrible man had a go, didn't he? He had a go. Horrible Portsmouth fan. Hopefully he's locked up somewhere in a cell. Deep dark down in the dungeons with vampires. Right, thank you for joining the live stream tonight. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jack Shields, absolute legend. Thank you, Disco Dino, with his super sexy likes. Speaking of super sexy people, Michael Bowers, take care, God bless, and may your God go with you. I love you all. Thank you for watching the live stream. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.